All right, let's just jump right in. What if our entire global system, the UN, national governments, the whole shebang, is just fundamentally broken? Today, we're going to look at a pretty radical proposal that says, hey, maybe it's time for a complete reboot of how we run this planet.
I mean, think about it. We're staring down these massive, modern problems, right? Pandemics, climate change, endless conflicts. But here's the real question. Are we trying to solve these 21st century problems with like a 20th century operating system? It just feels outdated, doesn't it?
This quote from Martin Luther King Jr. really nails it. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And that's never been more true, right? In our super-connected world, a problem over there can become our problem over here in a heartbeat. But our big global institutions, well, they often seem completely powerless to deliver the very justice and security they were built for.
Okay, so this is where we get to the core of the problem. It's this huge mismatch. You've got these global problems, climate change doesn't stop at a border, and a virus definitely doesn't need a passport. But what are our tools to fight them? Basically, 193 different countries, all kind of doing their own thing, pulling in completely different directions. It's chaotic.
Our systems for how we govern ourselves have always been changing. I mean, look at this timeline. We went from small hunter-gatherer bands to massive empires. But here's the kicker. Look at the last two entries. The nation-state system we're all living in, it was basically set in stone back in 1648. And even our quote-unquote modern institutions like the UN, that's from 1945, right after World War II. They were designed for a world that is just gone.
And this number, wow, it's just staggering. In just 1 year, the world spent a record $2.4 trillion on the military. Trillion. Just take a second and imagine what even a tiny fraction of that could do for things like healthcare or education or, solving the climate crisis. It really tells you everything you need to know about where the priorities of our current system are, doesn't it?
So all of this leads to the symptoms we see and feel every single day. You see one country use its veto power at the UN and boom, the entire world is paralyzed. You see narrow national interests getting in the way of any real global progress. And what's the result? We're left with a system that feels completely stuck in the mud, totally unable to fix the huge problems it was supposedly created to solve.
All right, so if the current system is failing us, where do we even begin to look for a better one? And this is where the proposal we're talking about today gets, well, really interesting. Because instead of looking to the future for some sci-fi solution, it suggests we need to look back, like way back. We're talking about 1,400 years ago.
The inspiration comes from something called the Madinah Model. That's the Prophet's Mosque in 7th century Medina. Now, the key thing to understand is that this was so much more than just a place to pray. Think of it as a complete community hub. It was the center for governance, for education, for social welfare. Everything was integrated into one place.
And this visual really lays it out. On the left, you see that traditional model, where everything from leadership to helping the poor was all connected. The big idea here is to take that core concept and adapt it for today, creating a kind of modern, multi-faith unity hub, which is what you see on the right.
So when you boil it down, this historical model was really built on a few key principles. First, leaders had to actually talk to the community. They had to consult them. Second, there was a strong social safety net to take care of people. And maybe most important, the whole system was designed to be holistic, meaning it looked after every part of a person's life, not just one little piece. Okay, so that brings us right back to the modern proposal, and it asks this really powerful question. What if you could take that ancient wisdom, that focus on community and justice, and combine it with the most powerful cutting-edge technology we have right now?
And let me tell you, the people behind this idea are not thinking small. They look at our current global system like it's an old computer running Windows 95. It's slow, it's buggy, it crashes all the time. So this proposal isn't just a software update or a patch. They're talking about a completely new operating system for all of human civilization. It's called G.A.I.G.S. That stands for Global AI-Powered Governance System. And it's pretty much what it sounds like, a global framework that uses things like artificial intelligence to build a totally different way of running our world.
Now, the technology here is really the engine that makes it all go. You've got AI on one hand to manage all the complex, behind-the-scenes stuff efficiently, and then you have blockchain. The easiest way to think about blockchain is like a digital record book that's public and can't be tampered with. It's perfect for things like voting or tracking money because it creates total transparency. But here's maybe the biggest change of all, how power actually flows. It's a complete reversal of what we have now. It's totally bottom-up. So decisions start at the local level. In these community nodes, from there, they flow up to the city, then the country, and only then to the global level. Just imagine that. A major decision on the world stage would actually start with conversations in your own neighborhood.
So let's just imagine for a second. If a system like this actually existed, what's the end game? What's the ultimate vision? What kind of world are we even talking about? Well, the vision is ambitious, to say the least. We're talking about a world with corruption-free governments, a world where every single person has a real, direct voice in the decisions that affect their life, where resources are shared fairly, so that every kid, no matter where they happen to be born, actually has a shot at becoming a scientist or a leader. So this all leaves us with one massive question, doesn't it? We can all see the cracks in our current global system, and now we've looked at one pretty radical alternative. So, could this really unlikely mix of ancient community wisdom and hypermodern artificial intelligence actually be the key to building a better future? That's the big idea to chew on. Thanks for joining me.